Hey, it's Mike from The Mike Wagner Show. Thanks for tuning in to The Mike Wagner Show on Anchor FM. If you're interested in sponsoring my show, you can send me an email to themikewagnershow@gmail.com, or you could also donate to the podcast. Just go to the Donate Listen site, and you can also donate whatever you like. Anchor is the easiest way to make a podcast. For those who are interested, Anchor can give you everything you need in one place for free, which you can use right from your phone or computer. We've got creation tools, allows you to record and edit podcasts so it sounds great, and they'll distribute the podcast for you so it can be heard everywhere. Spotify, Apple, Google, many more. And you can make money from the podcast with no minimum listenership. So download the Anchor app for free or go to Anchor FM to get started.
It's now time for the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, iTunes, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and themikewagnershow.com. Mike brings you great guests and interesting people from all across the globe. So sit back, relax, and enjoy another great episode of the Mike Wagner Show.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget? Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs at below the competition way. Call today at 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 10% off your first order. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at Facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, Radio Public, iTunes, Google Play, Apple, and more. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. You can also play the Mike Wagner Show on your iPhone, smartphone, Android, or Alexa. Just tell Alexa play the Mike Wagner Show. She'll be glad to do it for you. You can also listen on your tablet, desktop, and your laptop as well. We're here with a wonderful lady from Russia with Love. She's an actress, comedian, and model. And she's also talking from a very beautiful location as well, too, as we speak, being born in Moscow as well, too, and, coming to America and just has an amazing career as well, too. She's been in national commercials. She's also a star comedian, and she's been a model, appearing on a number of runways, and she's also been in quite a few movies. We'd like to talk about that. I mean, this lady will just knock your socks off. Just with wit and charm and everything like that. And of course, live from beautiful California, from Russia with Love, ladies and gentlemen, the multi-talented Eugenia Kuzmina. Eugenia, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Hello, Mike. I have to say your voice and pronunciation is really inspiring and amazing.
Well, thank you. I greatly appreciate that. I think I lost track on how many people have complimented me. It's just like I have to go through my files. It's like, oh my gosh, it's going to take me forever, but that'll be a project later on too. So
that's your talent. I was just listening to your introduction, the way you speak, and from comedian point of view, I can really say that it's incredible.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. And you're amazing as well too, but we'll get into more of your amazement as well too. So you're born in Moscow and you grew up in America for quite some time, and you're an actress, comedian, model, and you're also wanting to be like a professional ice skater, but things that turned for the better as well too. You've appeared in Glamour, walked numerous of runways, like for Yves Saint Laurent, Alexander McQueen, Theory Muggler, and more. You also appeared in movies like Bad Moms, Isn't Romantic, Dirty Grandpa, Fury, etc. You also won a couple awards as well, too, and also you've been in some projects as well, too, like some commercials, and also stand-up comedian as well, too. And before we get into your excellent talents, tell us exactly how you got started.
Oh, my God, that's a long story. Well, I started modeling in the hospital, literally, when I was born, because in Russia they separate babies, when they're born from moms. It's a very different environment, in the hospital. It's a very different system. And they took me to be photographed in the newspaper, local newspaper about health and babies. And that's how I got started. professionally. And then when I was 13, I think, a lot of things started changing in Russia. It was end of Soviet Union, and a lot of companies from America actually and Europe, like L'Oreal and Pepsi Cola, started coming to East. And that's when kind of, the modeling, the show business was changed and born in Russia. And I was part of the first wave of models, I think, who actually started in Moscow and then moved to Europe.
Wow, okay. And of course, you were discovered at the age of 13 by Russian designer Slava Zaitsev. Okay, yes. All right. Just tell us about the discovery as well, too. This sounds amazing.
Yeah, obviously there wasn't never an industry. There was maybe 2 or 3 designers who were well established, and Vyacheslav Zaitsev was one of the most famous designers in Russia. And, the models that he usually used are very, very tall, like 5'11", and have a very specific look. Now modeling is completely different, so diverse. But at that time, even I was quite short. And to be honest, I don't know what he saw in me, because I was a 13-year-old normal teenager. But he really kind of helped me to bloom. He really saw something more, and he taught me a lot about designing and clothes. And it wasn't just, I felt like I wasn't just an object, but he actually educated me a lot about, his work, which was fascinating and very inspiring.
That is amazing as well, too, and also significant. Period around 13 years old, you were cast in a Chuck Norris film, but you couldn't leave the country due to passport issues. And What exactly happened? What was that Chuck Norris movie called?
To be quite honest, I don't remember the name of the movie, but I remember him coming to Zaitsev agency and, casting us. And I had no idea, never thought about being an actor at that point. But somehow, they chose, I think I had to play his daughter or something like that, as I remember, one of his action films. And then I was very excited to be cast. Of course, all I wanted to do was travel, because, we didn't have a chance to go anywhere from Russia to Europe. You need a lot of visas, and it was still opening the country at that time. So I was really excited about traveling, but I couldn't do that. That's what happened. But, finally I'm here in Los Angeles in the entertainment business.
That sounds amazing, too. And what was like life living in Moscow as well, too, than compared to the United States?
It was completely different, completely black and white. I grew up, we had food lines. We were literally standing in lines for maybe 2 hours a day just to get some basic food. And a lot of times, we didn't have anything fancy. Like if we get cucumbers, or I remember we saw pineapple for the first time when I was maybe like 9 years old. And then I would hide food under my bed just to save it. And then, of course, I didn't know that it will go wrong after, as a child. So it was interesting. I think it was very adventurous and, taught me values, very specific values, especially now when I have a lot of things and, life changed. I appreciate everything. I appreciate, growing up the way I did. And I try to teach my kids also, more humanistic values.
Mm-hmm. And you also worked with not only models, Ford models in Europe, IMG, and also you appeared on Glamour as well, too, Replay Jeans, Armani, Dior, and more as well, too. And tell us about some of the ads you appeared in, and what was your favorite?
It's really hard to say what's the favorite. Every shoot is very interesting. If you come for me, it was kind of like acting, modeling. It wasn't just posing for the picture. It was more about telling the story. And those type of shoots, I always, I still love very much. And, that's why I still do modeling, because it's storytelling. And a lot of times I love working with photographers who have very specific style, one of a kind. My favorites probably are Peter Lindbergh, really sad to hear he passed away, such a master. I love working with Antoine Verglas, Paolo Roversi, Ines Venu. There's so many, but very distinct photographers. And I think it's a little bit lost with Instagram now, because everybody has a filter and Photoshopped. I think those photographers really achieved like a masterpiece. And, I'm curious to see where it's going to go. But yeah, I was lucky to work with incredible designers as well. So yeah.
And then later you got into acting as well, too. You appeared in Bad Moms, Isn't Romantic, Dirty Grandpa, Fury, and more. What was that one moment that influenced you going from modeling into acting?
Yeah, I never also thought that I could pursue this career because it's so specific. And I think a lot of actors actually start very young, and they're lucky if they know what they want to do and if their parents are supportive. I just never thought about it, being able to do that. So actually, after I met my husband, who is a producer, now he runs a studio, but he kind of brought me in the middle of this, show business. And I started being surrounded by all the directors and amazingly, incredibly talented, interesting people who tell stories. And I remember my agent sent me to this one audition because when you live in Los Angeles, most models, they do acting. It's just because it's more of a business here. And I went to this audition for Rodrigo Prieto film. He was a cinematographer for Wolf of Wall Street, among many other films like Babel and a lot of them. And it was his directorial debut with Elle Fanning, and it was a film about self-esteem and teenagers, which is really interesting. And he wanted a few models to kind of portray the dark shadow side of this business. And I remember at audition, it was just so interesting because it wasn't about how I look on the outside, which a lot of times doesn't depend on my skills, but it's more about kind of psychology and, what you give. It was very interesting process. And, when I got selected to do this movie, it just opened up a new world for me, because I think you always want to grow and find your voice as a person. And when you model, a lot of times it's a silent voice. So I think I was ready to kind of, look for my voice and find it somewhere. And that was a great avenue.
It sounds like you're ready to speak out, and it seems like when you got into acting, your voice finally just got out. And you also did more as well, too. We'll talk about your other passion as well, too. You listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition way. Call today at 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 10% off your first order. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on themikewagnershow.com. You can check our Facebook page at facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, Radio Public, iTunes, Google Play, Apple, Stitcher, Deezer, and more. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device and subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. We're here with multi-talented Russian-American actress, comedian, and model Eugenia Kuzmina from Russia with Love, heading out to the States as well, too, talking about how she got into modeling and going and acting and everything else and some of the experience she's worked with. And let's talk about some of the movies you've been in as well, too. You appeared in Bad Moms, Isn't Romantic, Dirty Grandpa, Fury, and more. And tell us about some of the works you've been in.
There's so many amazing, incredible projects that I'm part of. I'm really excited about the Gentle movie that's coming out. It's a film by Guy Ritchie. I think it's coming out in January. And I'm going to Russia, actually, for the first time in 10 years to promote it. It was a fantastic cast, Matthew McConaghy, Hugh Grant, Michelle Dockery, a lot of great actors. Of course, incredible director. And it was really fun to be part of such a big set. Also have Spy City TV series, which is coming out, and it's with Dominic Cooper among a few other actors. We shot it in Prague, and it's an action series and, did a lot of stunts. So those are really fun things. It's hard also to point one film, it's so interesting to be an experience like each project separately.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing, too. You also been in True Blood, New Girl, Castle, The Comeback, and you must have had a Bill Murray experience in Rock the Casbah. You can just tell me about what's it like working with Bill Murray. It's like I talked to another person who took in the Bill Murray experience, and looks like the Bill Murray experience came to you in Rock the Casbah. Just tell us about what's it like working with Bill Murray.
Oh my God. He's one of the most talented people, hands down, for sure. Just his skills in improv and, being sharp and on the point are incredible off and on camera. I remember a funny experience because, I was part of the cameo in one scene, so they were shooting for a while. And a lot of times when a newcomer comes to set, you kind of want to be respectful about other actors because they're working, they're in the character, in the process of going through something. But I remember the producer said, no, you have to go and say hi to Bill and talk to him and chat. And normally I don't do that because, I'm really respectful also as an actor. They may be in the process of memorizing and getting ready for the scene, but because the producers asked me, I went and started talking to him, and he totally didn't want to socialize. He was so honest about it, and I was just thinking how he is always honest, and that's just really inspiring, I think, for anybody. And I think honesty is funny too. So I think a lot of his humor comes from just being direct.
Mm-hmm. And of course, I was gonna tell a little secret as well too. Since Bill Murray's from Chicago, you can say, "Hey, how about them Cubs?" That'll get him to open up. So
here you go. I mean. Your accents and your impressions are very interesting. I wonder how long does it take you to develop that skill?
Well, we'll talk about that another time. If you're willing to interview me on your show, or say if you did it from Moscow, I'd be more than glad to do so. I'll do it from America with love. We'll do that. So
okay, sounds like a plan.
Sounds great. And also, I forgot to mention Tour de Pharmacy, and I think we've also had in there as well too with let's see. I think you had Spy City and Lady Dynamite on Netflix. Mm-hmm. You can also tell us about briefly the rest of the films you've also been in.
I think one of the first films I worked with Gillian Green, who is Sam Raimi's wife, who was our best friend at our wedding, and she just, proposed this role. It was very interesting. I had no idea what I was doing. It was first, kind of a little bit bigger role, but we went to Cannes Film Festival with it last year, and it was really exciting, to see it finally done 10 years later, I think. And then, kind of started going to acting classes after that, and got Fading Gigolo with John Turturro and Woody Allen and Sharon Stone and Sofia Vergara, and we shot it in New York, and that was just such a magical experience, shooting in New York and Carlisle, Upper East Side, and knowing Woody Allen films. Of course, he's such an amazing auteur, and John Turturro directing and acting. I just learned so much from that experience. Not to say that Sharon Stone and Sofia Vergara just really incredibly supportive and, warm human beings and, really fun actors to be around. I've done a few other films. Oh my God, there's so many. It's just really hard to remember all of them. But yeah, it was really fun to work also on TV show with Lisa Kudrow, The Comeback, and it was very different way of, it's very different experience, and you probably know, to work on, TV show, on movies. And movies, you have time to, stretch out, discuss with the director the role, and have many takes sometimes, not always, but a lot of times. And in TV, it's one take and done. So you better be ready. You better, have your voice ready. It's more of a, something that people can listen to, so you have to be ready and nail it in one take sometimes. Mm-hmm. Very interesting. Yeah, recently I also did a film with Eric Roberts, was the lead role, and I was playing a mom, and I had to cry on set for 11 days straight. So that was incredibly challenging, but thank God the director and everybody on set was very supportive, and we had a lot of fun in New York too.
It sounds like you work a lot of great people, and of course you also took in some awards. You won a gold and silver in the Indie Shorts Award, 15 Seconds Fame, and Assisted Living. And tell us about those awards as well too, and congratulations, by the way.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, I don't know what to say about that. I can just be, I can say I'm really grateful, for some acknowledgement. It's not really something that always motivates me. I think it's really, I'm grateful for the audience and that people like those shorts, and it was a lot of fun to creatively work on them. But what motivates me more is just the work itself. So, every experience is such a gift in itself, just to work with amazing artists and see, because in modeling, you work by yourself a lot of times, like it's only you in front of the camera, but in storytelling, there are other actors and you play with each other, and there are directors, and there's just, amazing crew. And it's fun to create the story with so many people and see the result. And of course, being awarded, I would say it goes to everybody, even though you're the one in front of the camera, it goes to, the whole crew of the film and everybody else.
That is amazing, too, how you work with great actors and actresses as well, too. And speaking of that, who are some of your favorite actresses and some singers? I'm sure you did some singing, and some comedians growing up along with some TV shows.
No, it's funny. I haven't done any singing yet, but I actually have a film lined up where I have to play a singer, so I better start singing. And it scares me so much. So we'll see how it's going to go. So I think there's so many actors also who are really inspiring. I love Nicole Kidman. I think, she's so diverse, and like every movie I watch, she goes 100% into the role, and very interesting. I mean, I love Margot Robbie. I think she can't do wrong. Like, she's fascinating, with her accents and the way she works. Carey Mulligan, Jessica Chastain. So there's a lot of role models I obviously have. Sharon Stone, who I had a privilege to talk to in person and work with. Really inspiring human. Sofia Vergara is super funny too, and she made it work with her accent, even though, it's very specific. From male actors, I really enjoyed working with Zac Efron. I think he's one of the most giving actors. And as a newcomer working with him, sometimes it's not easy, because you have to be there and there's so much pressure, but he would always be there for the reversal when the camera is on you and he's not there. A lot of times you have to talk to the wall or, somewhere else, but he was just so supportive and always there. Michelle Dockery, who I worked with in The Gentleman, just such a caring, and also supportive actress. There's just so many incredible talents.
Mm-hmm. And of course, you also make a really funny story as well, too. We'll talk about that. You listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today at 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 10% off your first order. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on themikewagnershow.com. You can check our Facebook page at facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, Radio Public, iTunes, Google Play, Apple, Stitcher, Deezer, and more. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device and subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. We're here with Russian-American actress, comedian, and model Eugenia Kuzmina. Comes to us from Russia with Love, and being based out in California as well, too. You can visit her website. She'll tell you all about that. She's walked the runways for Yves Saint Laurent, Alexander McQueen, and more. Appeared in Glamour, also Armani jeans, Dior sunglasses, Gap, and more. And she later transitioned to acting and won a gold and silver award in indie short films. And she appeared in a number of films. And she also talked about the one coming up in 2020. And you also like to tell some really funny stories. You became a stand-up comedian not too long ago. So tell us about being a stand-up comedian and what made you go into stand-up comedy.
Well, it's not a really funny story. Actually, I felt like there was a lack of roles for women at some point. And I mean, now it's much more diverse in Hollywood. I think it's opening up a little bit. But, when I started acting, roles that I was getting were mostly very cliche, like Russian spy, and I don't have anything against them. Like, it's really fun to play those characters. But, I also wanted to grow as a person. And a lot of times there are not a lot of maybe plays that, like that would be believable with my accent. There's not a lot of roles also who are Russian, and I wanted just to branch out. So when I was doing Fate and Gigolo with John Turturro, I found out that Woody Allen does stand-up, and I thought, well, this is theater, and there's no script. Like, I can write whatever I want. I can write my own roles. I can do whatever I want. And then the audience, it's a, instant kind of answer to you if it works or not. And I just found that was further way for me to kind of find and develop my voice and point of view, and, act also, and have, interesting different scripts that are not, written by anybody, but, that stories that I want to say maybe. So yeah, that's how I started doing stand-up. And, I didn't know how it's going to go at all and what does it entail, but, kind of fell in love with it gradually after bombing a few times on stage.
Darling, that was very interesting, darling.
Okay.
and of course, you can tell us a little funny story and maybe a little bit of stand-up as well, too. And you can tell us where you'll be appearing as well, too, in 2020. So I love hearing funny stories with you being a stand-up comedian.
Well, it's funny because actually I'm in Palo Alto with my co-producer now, Waylon, and, we're researching a new place for comedy. I'm planning to bring comedians to Palo Alto and kind of combine, that new technology with laughter. So maybe, who knows, we can program some AIs to write better jokes, hopefully. But we're on the road. I'm touring with the Nobody's Funny group. It's a group of comedians. Some of them are females, and, it's very diverse. Whoever it comes is welcome, and we're touring all around U.S. and telling jokes to audiences from like 50 people to 2,000 people that were performed in Arizona. So it's really, really exciting. And what's funny, the funny stories, well, we have a lot of funny stories. They're mostly behind the scenes here when we travel. In the tour bus, we went to Vegas, and hopefully we can come all over other countries too.
That would be great as well, too. And who are some of your favorite comedians growing up? I wasn't sure if I asked that question earlier. Woody Allen was one of them, but I wasn't sure if I asked that question about who are your favorite comedians.
Yeah, I love Woody. I think he's got an interesting voice. One of my friends, his name is Kirk Fox, and he's got a special. He appeared in many places. And what he taught me, actually, he appears in the Comedy Store a lot of times. So he taught me that storytelling, you don't have to try to be funny. You just can't tell stories, and, the truth is funny. And, that's amazing. There's a lot, obviously Robin Williams is a huge impact and inspiration. And as I heard from a lot of my colleagues, he was just, an incredible human being and very kind. Bill Burr is pretty funny. I love Ali Wong. I think she broke, a lot of stereotypes for women performing, pregnant. Mm-hmm. Also, I love Whitney Cummings. She's interesting. She has her point of view, just incredible writer. Always fun to watch her, and co-perform sometimes in the stage. There are a lot of up-and-coming comedians that, I love to. But I think for any comedian, it's very important to find your own voice rather than try to duplicate somebody else.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's very important, too. And Yakov Smirnoff was a very famous Russian comedian, also a very big hit in the U.S. So what are your thoughts on Yakov Smirnoff?
It's true. I actually saw him at the Comedy Store. It's been a while, but I remember he's incredibly funny. And, I'm definitely looking forward to researching and finding other Russian comedians on the circuit.
That's amazing. What a country.
Yeah.
I remember watching him as well, too. He was just fantastic. And also just wanted to find out your plans for 2020. You got the movie The Gentleman, and once again, just tell us all about that.
Yeah, well, The Gentleman we already shot in London last year, so it's coming up in January, going to promote it in Russia and Europe. And then I have a few films in the works. One of the films is romantic comedy, which has been cast. I think it's a really fun cast. I can't really say who else is in it yet, but I think we're filming in Louisiana in April. And then, obviously, coming with the tour, we're planning to go to Chicago to perform some stand-up comedy there, actually in talks with the producers, and Palo Alto and New York. So doing that and working on a comedy book too, which it's a long-term baby in process.
Wow. I mean, you got a lot in the bag, I'll tell you that. And you mentioned about the tour for 2020 as well, too. And is there any other works as well, too, like, possible modeling or, say, some other commercials or anything like that? So it sounds like you'd be pretty busy in 2020 on some touring and comedy.
Yeah. It's amazing. I mean, I've done a calendar with collaboration with Ferrari, classic cars. So it's really exciting. It's coming out. Literally just was promoting it. And it will be on Amazon, and Ferrari, I think, is going to sell it in their dealership. So that was really fun. I love cars. Actually, it's not like a girl's thing, but, being a tomboy, I just love cars, and getting motorcycle license too. In speaking about that, and in modeling, I mean, I have a lot of editorials lined up, but it's always obviously comes after movies and things like that, and just in support of that. I mean, I love a lot of designers and discovering new designers from Europe and supporting them. So that's something really interesting too.
Wow, you got a big plate ahead of you in 2020. Looking forward to having you on again in 2020 and give us updates and everything. I mean, I'm so looking forward to it. So I'm just stoked about this. And what do you consider your most defining moment in your career?
Funniest moment in my career, I consider being fired from set. I think I was like on my third set, and I got this role without audition, just talking to the director because it was a friend, and I think, he kind of trusted me, and they hired me to be a bartender on set, and I had no skill whatsoever in bartending, and I just thought I could wing it, but I couldn't, and I kept breaking all those glasses, and at the end of the day, they just said, let's just cut the scene and move on because it's impossible, and obviously, it was a small role. And then after being fired, I got really upset, and at the closing party of the movie, I decided to bartend for real. So I went behind the bar and started giving all the cast and crew drinks, trying to prove that I can bartend, only to be escorted by 2 guards.
Oh, no.
Because you can't bartend without the license, apparently, in New York. So that was a great lesson, for my ego. And also, I don't know, I think it's funny.
I don't know about you. You can serve me a beer anytime. I do trust you.
Okay, good. You can trust the Russians. You're very, very brave.
Sounds good. Okay, and who do you consider biggest influence in your career?
Biggest influence in my career, I would say my kids, to be honest, because they're the best actors. They inspire me every day. They're just so natural, and they have no filter, and their authenticity has a huge influence, the way they live their life moment to moment, and being grateful for anything and just playing. That's something that, I'm very inspired every day and very lucky to have.
Wow, that is something as well, too. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
I think the best advice would be just focus on work and keep it simple. A lot of times, especially in show business, it's easy to lose your grounding. There are people who will tell you you're great, you're not great, it goes up, it goes down. But if you keep it about work and, kind of have something else besides show business, some values like your family and friends, and invest into that, I think that will keep you grounded and, give you a different perspective of success and, achievement in life.
And I think that's something to keep in mind, too. Eugenia, you've been fantastic. We thank you for your time. Russian-American actress, comedian, and model Eugenia Kuzmina here on The Mike Wagner Show. Thanks for joining us here. Looking forward to having you on in 2020. But first of all, just once again, tell us about your upcoming projects, your website, how do people contact you, and where can people purchase your videos?
Well, I'm sitting next to Google headquarters, not far from them, so I think you can Google anybody this day. Actually, research in the future. You can Google my name or have a website. I answer sometimes social media messages if there's anything I can help specifically with. So, I'm pretty reachable. Also, I have agents and a great team too. So very interested to collaborate with anybody who has something creative in mind.
That is fantastic. And once again, Eugenia Kuzmina here on the Mike Wagner Show. Eugenia, you've been fantastic. I look forward to having you again in 2020. Thank you very much for your time. And do us a favor, keep us up to date.
Okay, thank you so much, Mike. And it's a pleasure listening to your voice. And thank you for your questions.
Thanks for listening to The Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and themikewagnershow.com. Please support our program with your donations at themikewagnershow.com. Join us again next time for another great episode of The Mike Wagner Show.